Diablo 4 and what kind of things should be added into the game. I have not seen this one, let's watch it together.
The Diablo 4 open beta period has ended, and players were given a taste of what they can expect in the full release of the game.
Sure.
While Blizzard has been sharing more information about certain systems through periodic developer live streams and videos, not much has been revealed about the endgame, if certain game modes will be making a return, or even whether certain features from previous games will return to help add more depth to general gameplay and character builds. Here are some things we'd like to see make a return in Diablo 4.
Come on. Give it. Written by Kazuma.
Adventure mode was an optional game mode available in Diablo 3. This mode allowed players to skip the story and dive right into the action and tackle different quests set in the different locales available to the game's main campaign.
Okay.
Objectives included defeating major story bosses, killing a set amount of enemies in a specific dungeon, opening cursed chests, and more. Completing the objectives would net players experience, gold, and special.
So basically this is just go in there, do some things, and that's over. Okay, I don't know. Skip campaign button is, as you already know, is already added, so maybe that will be some sort of a similar thing.
Chests when clearing all designated quests in an area. These chests would drop recipes for legendary gear and set pieces, which incentivized tackling these objectives before heading into other endgame content like Nephilim Rifts. While engrossing, not everyone is interested in the narrative of the Diablo game.
I don't know. If we don't want this. I don't know. I personally don't want to see this. This is like a puzzle type of thing. I really like the freedom that Diablo 2 had. Go in there, kill monsters, get loot, either equip it, drop it, sell it.
Games have provided for well over a decade, and an adventure mode is more than appealing for those that simply want to play the game and not be barred by story progression. Given Diablo 4's pivot to being more like an MMO, perhaps Blizzard will hand out story skips through its battle pass or other avenues if adventure mode doesn't make a return. While offering a decent roster of playable classes with the Rogue, Barbarian, Druid, Necromancer, and Sorcerer available to choose from, Diablo 4 is sorely missing the Crusader or Paladin. Unlike the Barbarian or Druid, the Crusader and Paladin fill a unique niche as a...
I was sort of expecting those save points to be shared. Paladin or Monk or Crusader type of thing was already leaked. I believe this one's gonna be added into the game, just not sure when. May just be during the first season launch.
Warrior type class that utilizes a range of holy magic capable of tanking absurd amounts of damage while also providing valuable buffs to party members. Well, this may sound similar to what the Druid...
Everyone is individual, so I'm not sure the thing where they are just moving towards like MMO aspect of the game, but they are trying to break the triangle of classes. So I'm not sure how that's gonna work out.
Druid can offer, and to some extent the Barbarian. Both the Crusader and Paladin were more or less powerhouses in this regard to being one of the tankiest classes available in the Diablo series as a whole, while still capable of doing large amounts of damage. Overall, it was a nice hybrid that never felt weak if you chose to favor one type of build over the other. It would also add more variety in general terms of what more melee-focused classes could offer, providing a nice middle ground between a solid DPS and a tank. Nephilim Rifts and Greater Rifts were introduced in Diablo 3 as content that appeared in its Reaper of Souls expansion. These seemingly endless procedural dungeons may...
I don't know. The fact that Greater Dungeons is not a thing that I would be anticipating in, as I believe this is just simply going to be a map.
Not have the same attention to detail as the ones in Diablo 4,
Don't you agree?
but they were a great source of endgame content. Rifts allowed players to farm legendary items and set pieces consistently. The core gameplay loop of the Rifts features players fighting waves of enemies in order to spawn a super boss of...
Well, I can tell it does look beautiful, and it does look like loopy and addictive, and I want to really download Diablo 3 once again. But do I want to see this type of thing added into Diablo 4? Well, not particularly, I believe, in the exact same manner, but I would still like to see some sort of repetition of the game. But I believe this is where like sacred dungeons or just dungeon farming gonna take place, as you will have random suffixes and affixes around the dungeons. I don't know.
Sorts that would...
I believe this is extremely safe bet to say.
Defeated would reward players with gear and unique gems for their gear and endgame builds. While we don't know what Diablo 4's endgame looks like right now, Nephilim Rifts were a great way to not only obtain highly coveted set pieces and legendaries, but allowed players to test out builds against hordes of enemies, which in turn would shape the meta for seasonal content. As introduced in Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction, runes are a unique type of socketable item that are different from gems. While gems allow for passive upgrades to stats such as increased barrier potency or damage to elite enemies, runes could change entire builds. By combining runes on pieces of armor to create rune words, players could add more than one incremental stat change. These words would effectively generate...
I really like just simply collecting the loot and just applying the loot, rather than just collecting a little bit of runes, then making a rune word. This was cool and wonderful idea in Diablo 2. I'm not too sure that this would be a great addition to Diablo 4 personally when we're speaking about runes, but however I would do favor the fact that you can add some sort of jewels into the weapons, armor or helmets so that you could benefit your character in more of a randomized manner, so that even you have like random classes or same classes using the very same builds, items would be different.
Legendary passives onto items such as creating a nova when killing an enemy, or even generating charged bolts or frozen orbs when striking. While this could create passive skill bloat given Diablo 4's aspects effectively serve this function, seeing runes and rune words come back would be interesting, mostly because it would give players an even greater way to customize their builds to create something wholly unique.
Well, nice thought, really.
While not the most well-regarded of the Diablo games, Diablo 3 allowed players to change their builds at a whim and for no cost. Diablo 4 will require players to spend gold in order to change.
Oh yeah, play game, earn gold, use gold to respec. I don't know, seems to me like easy, simple kind of mechanic. If you made bad decisions along the way, if you haven't read through descriptions and at the end of the leveling process or in the middle you want to change, if you killed monsters, if you played the game, you have enough loot so you could just respec. This is perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine with the respecing costs.
Change their skills and accompanying passives. This didn't cost an obscene amount during the open beta period, but it can quickly add up, especially since removing and applying aspects to weapons and armor can also get pretty expensive. Forcing players to spend gold to respec feels like a way to keep the grind going, but could be counterintuitive to finding new builds. And potentially leaving experimentation to players who have massive quantities of gold could alienate more casual players. Well, it seems like Blizzard has made up its mind regarding whether or not this feature...
I think this could be sorted simply by adding some sort of like trial character, so that you could have character added as like level 50, and then you can play with skill points without any sort of respecing cost.
Feature will come at no cost. It could be interesting to see them potentially walk back on this in the future if the reception is less than favorable.
PvP nomad, nice.
Pets in Diablo 3 were unobtrusive, if not immersion-breaking companions that would run out and collect gold for you. This meant you wouldn't need to run your character over or around gold in order to pick it up. It's more or less a modern convenience that isn't required for the overall game experience, but is something of a smaller quality of life feature that was surprisingly missing.
Gold itself is like a cosmetic thing. If the game wanted you to not to pick up, but just have gold after you killed an enemy, they would just simply remove the animation that there's something happening. I believe this is one of those mechanics that give you incentives so that you could spend more time in the game.
In the Diablo 4 beta. Since Diablo 2, players could recruit NPC companions to join them as they explored the world of Sanctuary. Diablo 3 allowed players to pick from a total of 3 different companions, Templar, Enchantress, and Scoundrel, that you could choose to build in a few different ways depending on what skills you picked for them and what gear you equip them with.
We will stand together against the shadows.
Since Diablo 4 is leaning towards a more open world and MMO-light experience, it wouldn't be
MMO light, that's the new term, I haven't heard it.
surprising if companions didn't make a comeback. Let us know in the comments what you'd like to see, and for everything Diablo 4, from now until launch and beyond, keep it right here on IGN.
Hope that you liked this video. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one.